Hi everyone, this is Ratudan and welcome back to a new video. And in this video, we're going to create a navbar in React. So basically, this is a basic template that I have. We're going to start from scratch, but by the end of the video, we'll end up creating this React navbar, which is totally responsive, and I'll show you how to add animations and all of this. So stick until the end of the video to learn all of this. Before we get started, I want to say I do conduct Zoom classes on coding tutorials. If you want to learn anything from scratch, if you want to clear stuff from scratch, or if you have any doubts, please be sure to shoot me a email on ratsudan666@gmail.com, or even an Instagram Gmail if you want any help. Okay, so I just wanted to plug that in. So let's get started. So first of all, I want to show you I have the React template opened up. I used npx create React app. So you just simply have to say npx create create React app, create React app, and you just have to specify your app name, and it will just create you the basic npm template. Okay, so I've already done that, so I can straight up get started. So first of all, normally everyone does a cleaning. You don't need the setup.js, you don't need the service worker.js, we don't need the logo, we need the index.js, we don't need the index.css, and we don't need the app.test.js. So we can get rid of that. So I'm just going to delete this like that. So let's just move those to the recycle bin. And in this case, we end up having the index.js, app.js, and then we have the app.css. Okay, so the first thing I want to do in the index.js, let's get rid of this service unregister, and we need to get rid of this service what we import, and also we need to get rid of this css file because it doesn't exist, and if you just have it, it's just going to crash. So let's save that. And in the app.js, we are going to just get rid of the svg here, and I'm going to delete the header, the total header here, and I'm just going to say hello there. Okay, just for now, that's the only thing that I need. And in the app.css, I normally get rid of everything because I'm gonna be including my own custom styling, so that's not gonna be a problem. So once you're done with that, we can just say npm. We can just say npm start. Oops, we have to say npm start. That's it, and this will start a development server on localhost port 3000. Okay, and so let's wait until this gets opened up. So let's wait. Alright guys, so it's loaded up and we have a text called hello. So that's what we have for now. Alright, so I'm just gonna get rid of this one and just a bit structure my windows so I can work with this properly. Alright, so let's create something like this, and I'll push our VS Code to something like that so I can click up and see what am I doing. Alright, so the first thing that we are gonna have a navbar component. So first of all, I'm just gonna rename this class name. I can just get rid of this because I don't need a class name for this div. I wanna get rid of that and just have a hello here. So it's just fine. But I'm just gonna create a separate component for our navbar.js. So let's go just capitalize the N and say navbar.js. Okay, and I have the extensions downloaded. If you want, I'll leave the link for the extension. You just have to say rfce to create a functional component for you. Okay, so that's what, and it's gonna give you, and it's gonna export that component itself. So it would save a lot of time for you when you're doing it. So you just call this navbar here, and we'll just save it, and we'll get rid of the index.js, and inside the app.js, let's just import. Now you can basically import the navbar like that, but the cool thing that you can do is I'll come inside this div and it will just auto complete. So I'm just going to bring in that component here. So let's say navbar, and if you see, it's going to say auto import. So when I click on this, it's going to automatically import that navbar from that particular source. So I just have to finish it off, and if you see, it's going to say navbar instead of hello because we got rid of that, and we have navbar for now. Okay, so that's it for now. So quickly, let's actually go and do a couple of stuff in the navbar. So the first thing that I wanted to do is to have a nav inside this div. So let's make a nav here. Okay, and inside this, what I'm going to have a couple of things. The first thing, I need to have a logo. So let's create a class. Let's create a basic div here, and this div would have a class name called logo, right? So this is just going to be a simple text, whatever name. So we'll just put React nav, right? Doesn't matter. So this is going to be the logo. And then what we're going to do, we are going to create a separate UL, so which is going to have consist LIs, right? So let's create a separate UL, and let's name this, give it a class name called nav links, which is the navbar links, right? So let's say nav links, right? That's what we need. And then what we want to do, we need to have some LIs. So let's say LI, and here inside this we would have a tag, right? Because it's going to be a link, and LIs wouldn't be a link because you can't have the href inside the LI. You could have href in the a tag. And now what we're going to do, we are going to say just some couple of stuff. Let's say home, let's copy paste around 5 times, and we'll name this home, let's say product. Okay, and we'll go product, and let's say, I don't know, some services, and let's say about us, or it just be about, doesn't matter. And the contact, and let's just have remove that. Okay, so if you see, I'm using Prettier, it's auto formatted, and if you see, it's going to be like this. Okay, so that's what we have, the basic navbar here. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the app.css, which we didn't have anything. So first of all, I need to do a simple browser reset. So I'm going to grab the star, which is going to select the whole HTML template, and let's say margin is 0, padding is going to be, let's say padding is equals to 0, and let's say box sizing is equals to border box, right? And so it's going to remove that nasty space between it. Okay, and then normally what I do, I get the a tags and remove the text decoration to none, and then I grab the li tags. Now these are the basic stuff that I do. You can just prefer to do whatever you want. Normally I would say, if you're this is a use case when it comes to CSS, you can use it for like a very, very small end applications, but when you're doing like a bit large end with React, I would suggest using Sass rather than CSS, because it makes your website more faster. And I also have some Sass videos which I will link in the description. Okay, so now we basically have removed all the stylings and stuff like that, and now we're going to just target a whole nav and design it. So let's call this nav, and you want to basically, I want to just flex this up, and if you see the whole nav is flexed up. Now we'll just expand this to make sure it's going to be on a perfect PC, and now flexed up. And now you have to say justify content space around. Space around would give you some spaces in between here. Now this nav would also expand when this LIs are flexed out, meaning if I just give space between, this will go to the edge of the website. Now if we are using a container, then this would be the ideal way. No, we're not going to use any container or any min widths, so around is more than enough. Okay, so inside now we have the nav, and now what I want to do, I want to give a min height to it. Okay, now I guess this should crash. So for now we'll just say min height 10 vh. It wouldn't, because we don't have a background color. And we want to say align items, so it's going to center out. It's align items center, right? And it's going to center. If you see, you can see it's just centered on the div. So that's it for that. And now let's target the nav. Now first of all, I just forgot one thing. Let's say to have a font family. Now I'm going to use a inter, which is a built-in font that I have sort of installed. So you can install that, or you can just grab the Google fonts, it doesn't matter. And now we have just the inter font working. And now you just say navbar, which we get the nav, and let's say dot logo. As you remember, we gave this a class of a logo. We need to do a couple of stuff. Let's get the font size to, let's bump it up to 30 pixels. So it's going to be a bit bigger compared to 30 is too much, I guess. And let's make it 20, or at least 25, 22 should good. Okay, so now we'll also bump up the font weight to around 700. Okay, so that is okay for a logo. And now let's text transform it to uppercase. So what this does is just gonna transform the whole text to capitalize. Okay, so you don't need to hardcode type that out. Okay, so I guess that's okay with the navbar. And now what I'm gonna do, I am gonna style the nav links. So let's say nav, let's say nav, and say dot nav links. Okay, so remember we gave a class for the UL, so which will take a property called display flex, which will flex the whole thing out. And see, when I just type justify content space around, not oops, let's say space around, and nothing will happen. It's just because we have to also pass in a property of width. So in this case we can go around 30%. I'm not sure whether it will work, but I guess that's okay. 30% is looking okay. That looks nice. And yeah, so that's what I said. You have to just pass justify content space around and also width to get this effect. All right, so now we need to grab this, the same class. Let's paste it here. And what we want to do, we need to let's actually target the a tag, and let's increase the font size of it for 30 pixels. Now 30 pixels should be like 18 pixels. Yeah, 18 pixels should do. 18 pixels look okay. And also the font weight, it's normal at its most. It's just normal right now, but if you want to increase that, you can also make this 700 or 500. But I guess 700 for a link is normal. For a link is more than enough. It's gonna put it like this. So what we want to do right now, I'm just gonna style the nav. So let's go and create a color. Oops, let's say background color actually. So let's have it a background color of light, maybe light gray or something, because so differentiate with the background. So okay, that looks okay, but we can grab some really good colors. So let me just grab it from my UI color picker. I have some great colors here, so I can just simply grab it from here. So let me just select the color from here. Let's select this. Okay, let's select this one. This looks okay. So let's go grab this and let's say hashtag this, and let's paste this color, and this looks okay. Yeah, it looks fine. And now what I want to do, as the text are not that great for that color, we can just turn all the text to white, and that looks pretty decent. Okay, and then the nav links, I'm just going to change it to 32%, so it's going to be a bit stretched out as well. And now when we hover over the nav links, or just the nav links a tag, right, so we can just copy that, paste it, and we can see when anyone hovers over any of the nav links, we need it to have a border bottom. Okay, so 1 pixel of solid FFF, which is its own white color. So if you see, it's just gonna get a sort of underline like that. And we also could make this cursor pointer. Okay, we can make it normally cursor pointer. Oops, let's say pointer. Okay, so now it's actually not a pointer because we don't have any href, which means the link, but now we have given it as a pointer. It works like this. So basically this is how a nav bar will work on React. Maybe it's just a simple thing, just a simple HTML code transfer to React. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you the responsiveness as well. Okay, so if you see at this point, looks really bad. So for we can have a quick fix to that, right? So I'm just going to show you a quick fix to it right now. So let's go back to our CSS. So let's get rid of this. Let's go to a CSS, and right at the bottom, what I'm gonna say, when this actually hits a certain point, maybe around at this point, which is like the mini tablet version, we need to do a couple of stuff. So we are gonna use a media query. So let's say add media. So I'm going to use responsiveness here. So add media all. So I'm going to target all the screen side, just a print functionality, everything. And I want to say and when it's actually with all of the screen sizes, and we need to have a max width of certain thing, certain anything. For example, I guess for this we can give 768 pixels, which is a tablet, which is the iPad of, which is a screen width of an iPad. Okay, not an iPad Pro. iPad Pro would be something like this, but this is sort of like an iPad. Okay, so at this point I need to do a couple of stuff. So first of all, I normally check whether it's working by saying body is equals to display none. Okay, or I just specify a color to it or something. So when we hit a certain point, the body becomes, there we go, so the body is becoming to a certain color, right? Alright, so at a point of here, it's gonna disappear. So I'm not gonna do the whole responsiveness here. I mean, I'm gonna do the responsiveness, but it's not gonna be that accurate. I'm not gonna target this point. I'm gonna target the tablet point, but you can add media queries just to target the same point. Doesn't matter. Alright. So at this point, I need to have some responsiveness happening. You can just copy the paste the code, just the same thing. Okay, so we don't need that body none thing right now. So first of all, what I need to do, guys, I need to display this none for now, right? Or not for now, at least. Just a simple fix I can do for it. So first of all, what we could do, I'm just gonna go over to Font Awesome. So let's go to fontawesome.com, and we need to grab some font awesomes. Okay, we're gonna grab a div, a burger, okay, or a menu. So let's just say menu and just click enter. And it's gonna give me a couple of stuff. Let's wait, and I'm gonna click on this free version. So I need only the free version, and at least we can say burger maybe. Let's give me burger. Let's say menu. Select. I've taken a lot of stuff from here. I don't know why it doesn't. Okay, it's called bars. I'm sorry, I just forgot about it. Okay, so we're gonna just get this the font awesome icon called FA bars, which is the solid version. The regular ones are pro. So once you have those, first of all, I need you to go to the navbar.js, which is our navbar component, and paste it on this nav links. We can just paste it outside the nav links, right? And if you see, this has to be flexed, but it wouldn't be flexed. It wouldn't. I mean, it is flexed, but we don't have anything here. It's because we don't have the CDN of that. So we can head over to cdn.js, cdn.js.com, and you don't need to enroll in Font Awesome and stuff because it's a bit complicated. You can just come to cdn.js and grab the Font Awesome key. So the website is pretty much changed. So let's just switch back to the normal site. Alright, so we are on the normal site. So let's say Font Awesome. Okay, so let's say Font Awesome, and let's click enter. And why isn't it working? Let's just refresh this. Okay, let's say Font Awesome. Alright, we have the first one. Okay, I'm gonna normally you would end up in the JavaScript, so make sure you come here, click on the CSS, and just copy this one. And then what you have to do, you want to go, you can install Font Awesome for React. You can just say npm install React and import the component, and you can also import the bars. But just to make everything simple, and it's just going to do the same thing, right? So it doesn't matter. So we can just go for the you're going to go to public, the index.html. Now div with the ID of root, this is where your app is being rendered, right? In the index.html, we have to paste this above the title or just inside the head. Make sure, we just say link with the href, and let's say like that, right? That's it. And if you see, it's gonna open up, and if you have, there we go, we do have a simple burger. All right, so we also could just get rid of that. And the next thing that we have to do is let me just give this a bit of a class here. So let's come to the navbar.js, and it has a class of FA bars. So it is like the bootstrap class, no Font Awesome class. We're just gonna have a class name here. Okay, and in the class name, what we're just gonna have, let's just call it burger, right? Let's call it burger. And inside the burger, we have the burger class, so we can go to the app.css. And at this point, what I need to do, I'm just going to come to the nav, the logo, we can finish the A tags, and we have effects. We can come to nav, and inside nav, we have a class called .burger. And inside this, let me just have some couple of stylings. Let's say 20 pixel of font size. And it should be burger li, which is, sorry, it should be an I. That's how the Font Awesome icons are targeted. So let's say 200 pixel, whether it's working. Okay, it's not, so that we have some error with the classes. So let's go back to our navbar.js. We have a class name of burger, which is inside our nav, which is outside the nav links. So it should be nav.burger. We target the I. We don't need to target the I. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so we just wanna get rid of that, and that should perfectly work, I guess. Let's refresh that. Why isn't it working? Font size 200 pixels. Nav, and we have All right, so basically there is an error here because we have class name, and we also have another class. So if I just get name this also class name, see, you might get an error there. You might get an error in the console. So what we could, a quick fix is that we can copy this or just get rid of this thing here. And what we could do, we can just paste this here, and then there we go, it's working, right? So this works there. And now what I'm going to do, let's make it 20 pixels, and 20 pixels is a bit small, so let's make it 25 pixels. And no, let's make it maybe 28 pixels. And that's how the burger will basically look like when it's on somewhere around here. So what we need to do here is that I'm just going to display this none right now at a display of a laptop or something like that. So we can say display of none. And then what we could do, if you see, is okay. And at this point, I need to make this, pop that up right now. So what I'm going to do, if you can just copy the class from here itself, copy that, just paste it. The first thing I want to do when it hits that, I want to display this block. Okay, that's the first thing that I want to do. And the next thing that I want to do, if you see, we have the nav links, right? It has a display flex. So let's copy this. Let's come back down, which is inside this media query. We need to select this display block. Okay, so it's gonna be like this, and we need to position this absolute. All right, so it's gonna be like that, and we have to say top of 0 and a left of 0. And if you see, it's just gonna push that up to the whole end, right? So that's what we have for now. And we are basically designing that as it looks like when you click on the burger. So you have to imagine that and do it, and once you finish that, you can toggle all the features. Okay, so that's what we have for now. And now what we want to do next is that we need to give it a height. So let's come here and give it a height of 100 VH. Okay, so it's gonna be alright, so let's go give it a background color. So it is 100 VH, so we can just give it a background color of the same color. So we can just do it like that, and it's going to be for the same height, right? It's going to be 100 VH of that. And now what we could do, we have to sort of position those. So we can grab the same thing, the same elements, and now what we could do, we can just paste it here. And then we need to take a look at all of the A tags, and now we have to give this a padding of 20 pixels, right? So now that will basically push this here, just right here. So the next thing that we have to do is we have to give it a padding inside this as well. And if you see, it's gonna be here. And now you can say we have a padding of 20 pixels. If I change this to what about LI, let me just get this. Let me just change this to LI, and it's going to have the proper padding. Okay, so not the A tags, you have to make sure you get the LI. And inside the nav links, it's actually somewhere around here. We don't need that. We actually need to be the 50% of the screen size. So we have to say width is actually equals to the 50% of the screen size, and that's going to take the 50% of the screen size. Okay, now what will happen if I get rid of that? It's going to be right there, which it doesn't look nice. So what we could do, you also could do text align center, text align right or left, but we can just leave it padding. We'll make it at 40%. It's gonna come over here. It's all right. So we also could make 2025 maybe. So it's gonna be a bit enlarged. Okay, so once we click on this, something like this just gonna pop up. Very easy. All right. So the next thing that I want to do is that I need to make some differentiation between both of these. Okay, so if you see, we need to have a border bottom. You also need to get rid of the hover effects, okay, because no one would hover in a mobile. So we can just copy this, okay, and just try to bear with me. Once we finish the CSS, it's just gonna be the toggling features on React. All right, on this, when they're gonna hover, I'm just gonna say we need to set 0 pixels, so which is nothing over there. Okay, so we basically we just got rid of that. And now what we want to do, we want to just target just this LI, paste this, and we need to pass a last, or we have to just pass no, I guess we just have to target the li first for now. So let's I'll show you what to do later. So let's just say border, and you want to say 1 pixel solid of, maybe just put this color and see if it looks okay, and it should be border bottom. Alright, so this is how it looks like. So it just looks decent, right? Not the best of the world, but just looks decent. Okay, then now the next thing that I want to do is I'm just going to get rid of this because you don't really need this line. So you can do a cool thing here. You just copy it here, paste it, and you want to say last of type, which is the last li. You just have to set this back to null, or you just want to clear this out. So you can just say 0 pixels. Only for this one, you need 0 pixels. So if you see, there we go. It just looks nice and clean. All right. Done with that. So now what I want to do, I want to just toggle this. For now, what it's applicable to do is that we can just have to have a transform property here. So inside the nav links here, okay, so let's go here and say transform, or we could just say transform, and we have to say let me just get it, or should we translate x, and here if you see 200 pixel, it's going to go push to the side. So in this case we need this to go below that, right? So around, it could go around 500 pixels, and at this point we cannot actually see, we actually cannot see the whole thing. At this point we cannot see anything here. So what I want to do, once everyone clicks on this, I want that to come from 500 to 0. So just imagine that. I'm just going to set back this to 0, and if I save it, it's going to be here. Simple as that. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So for now, as I told, we just lean that back to minus 500 pixel. Okay guys, so now the next thing that I have to do, I want to work in the toggle functionality. So we have to go to the navbar.js, and we'll actually work on the toggle functionality. Alright guys, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna create this. When we click, we need to make that pop up. Alright, so we're gonna work on that functionality. So first of all, before we get started, we need to import React use state. So make sure you import that hook. So let's say React use state. So we'll just import that hook. And then what we need to do, well, basically I'm gonna explain you the logic here. So once we click on this, we are gonna have a state to it saying open and set open. Basically the open will be false, which is basically it's gonna be it's not gonna display. And once we click on this, it's gonna be true. So it's gonna come from minus to 500 pixels, and it's just gonna become 0 2 pixels, and now basically, which means it's gonna display here. So for that, let's have a piece of state here just for now. Okay, so let's say const, and let's say open. Okay, you can name it whatever you want. So let's say open, and we're gonna set that to use state, and we're gonna set that to false. So basically, why oops, it's gone. All right, so let's set back to false. So first of all, you can have it on true, but if you have it on true according to our function, it's gonna get displayed whenever the user if the user doesn't click it, which means it's just gonna get displayed right now, but when I click on the burger, it's just gonna go. So we don't want that functionality. First of all, it's false, which is basically display none. Okay, or not even display none. The translate is actually minus 500 pixel. And now what I want to have a on-click function on this particular burger, right? So if you see, the burger, first of all, doesn't have a cursor pointer. So let's quickly go up here and say cursor is equals to pointer. Okay, so it's going to be a pointer. All right, so that's it for I promise that's it for the CSS. Okay, now what we are going to do, we're going to pass a on-click function here. Okay, I'll explain what this means. So on-click, so on-click, what I basically need to do, we're going to run a simple arrow function, and inside this, what will it do? When we click on that the particular burger, it's going to set this set open, okay, which is a tool to increment or just to modify our open state or open nav, whatever you want to call. and then the set open is basically gonna be let's set the set open basically the opposite of open. So now the open is actually false, so anyone click on open, we need it to be true, which means the nav is going to pop up to translate 0 pixels. So we know we can put an explanation mark and just say that's it, just ons of open. Just set this back to do this. So basically it's super efficient because you don't need to have multiple values. Whenever you click on this, it's just gonna be the not of open. So if you want to close it, you don't need to have a separate on click function. Just a simple click will just toggle the same class, or whatever function we run. Okay, now what we want to do, guys, we're just gonna have a simple style property here, which is also gonna take this open state. So first we want to say style, and we're going to have some styles here, some functionality on the style. So what the first thing that we want to say, we need to get our transform property, okay, and we need to set this. All right, so just say transform set it, and you want to say if open exists, if open is actually true, then you have to set this translate x. So let's say translate capital X, and you need to set this back to let's say it should be in string. So because it's CSS, you want to say translate this to 0 pixels. Okay, translate x to 0 pixels, right? If this exists, okay. So if it doesn't exist, or if it's actually not of the open, then if it's just open, we have to set this back false. So it's not going to be on a string. So just finish the string off, and then we have to say question mark, which is going to be else. And then what we have to say, we need to set this translate x back to, if it's not opened up, we need to set this. We have to put this inside the quotes, and we have to just set this back to minus 500 pixels, which is like the default one. Okay, so now if you see, okay, we have an error. So what's the error there? We have class name shall open. Okay, so just a simple error. We're checking for a function, and we have to put an else here. So they already said that. I didn't actually look it properly. Expected a colon, so we just have to change this to colon. All right, so, let's just change this back to colon. All right, and now it should work. So now once I click, it's just gonna come in, and when I click, it's just gonna go. So when I click, it's just gonna toggle, but it's not smooth enough. So for that, what we have to do, just one single property in Java CSS. So just go to your app.css, and you make sure you are in your nav links, okay. And what you have to do inside the nav links, you have to give it a transition, okay. So let's say transition, and let's say 0.5 second would be a smooth spot. So you can say 5 second easy out. So once I click on this like that, it's gonna come right nice, and if I click on this, it's gonna go. So once I click on this, it's gonna come, and it's just gonna go like that. So first of all, let's just sort of let's go to the app.css. Let's make this a bit darker, because it's just it just looks same as this one, so not that dark. So let's just make this a bit different, okay. So now once I click on this, it's gonna pop up, and if I click on this, it's just gonna go. All right, so you can add more functionality. If you want to go into depth on if you want to go in depth into navbar, responsive navbar, I have a separate HTML CSS video. We can just get some inspiration from that and just implement in React. So basically, once you click outside, this will also just go. That's just simple as that. We create an invisible layer, and once they click that invisible layer, also we set back a set open to false, something like that. So I highly suggest you to take a look into that. So guys, a quick error that I just found is that when we ran a function, we set this back to 500 pixels, 500 pixels of translate text, but when you make your screen size bigger, the navbar is actually changing. It's just basically set this back. It's just gonna change this to 500 pixel again, which gives it this bad effect. Okay, it's actually going to this 500 effect. So you can have a simple solution for that. Rather than doing this command, we can just get rid of that. We don't need to have anything. I'll explain this when we have a transform. When open exists, then make it transfer 0 pixels, or else just leave it empty. And now if you see, it's just gonna move off. So now let's just make this a bit small and see. There we go, it's working as fine. And let's expand this, and if you expand, it's working properly. Alright guys, that's just a simple error that I wanted to point out. Enjoy the video. Hopefully, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's completely beginner friendly. I'm also a beginner to React, but still I'm learning. So, you know, I'm also trying to make more videos in React as well, and more in JavaScript and stuff like that. So hope you love this video, and if you have any questions, or if you want to see more React projects in this channel, make sure you comment what projects you want to learn, maybe prop state, what single just topic based videos if you want me to create, then make sure you leave it in the comments. Okay, and also, as I said before, I conduct Zoom classes for people who sort of want to learn the basics. So if you want any classes, or if you want to learn something especially personal training or something like that, so make sure you hit me up in my Instagram or Gmail account, rajsudan666@gmail.com. Both of that I'll leave in the description if you want to check it out. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you in the next video.